Hi everyone, James Keach here, one of your PGA professionals from the Taunton and Pickeridge Pro Shop team, and welcome to the final part of your lockdown putting program. Okay, so today what we're going to do is talk through my top 5 tips for green reading and green reading skills that you might want to implement in your putting. So let's jump right in. So skill number 1 or tip number 1 is trust your initial read. So we've all done this. We've been looking down the line, looking at our putt, seeing the ball break a certain way, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, bam, the putt starts to look like it breaks in the opposite direction, and we end up sort of second guessing ourselves. We then get over the putt, get ready to pull the trigger, but all of a sudden we're still not sure actually whether what we've changed to is the right line or the correct line. So what you want to do is really just be certain that actually, do you know what? If that's what my initial read was, my initial instinct was for the putt, I'm just going to go with that and just trust it, as opposed to second guessing it and adding that little element of doubt into your putting. Tip number 2 is decide on the speed. So what I mean by that is, as you're reading the putt, decipher what speed you want the ball to be reaching the hole, whether you want it to be going in with a little bit more pace or a little bit less pace, because this will then determine just how much break you allow. So if all of a sudden we're expecting the ball to run in at a little bit of a slower pace, we're going to need to allow for more break. If we're going to hit the putt with a little bit more speed and the ball's going to be running up to the hole with a little bit more velocity, then we need to allow for less break. So really understanding the speed in which you want to hit the putt first, and then start to pick your intended break or your intended start line for that putt. Tip number 3 is pick a start line nice and close to the ball. So once you've made your read, once you've decided on how this ball is going to go in the hole, I want you to work backwards and just try and see, right, okay, where do you think the ball needs to start for it then to follow the read you've made? And then I just want you to focus on really just trying to get the ball started over a little spot just in front of the ball, that's along that start line, and it really just helps you make sure you maximize the read you made by actually applying a stroke onto the ball that gets the ball rolling on that read. Tip number 4 is looking at it from all angles, and this is really helpful in reaffirming your initial instincts from the first tip. So if you start to have second thoughts on the putt or the read you've made, just having a look at it from all angles, so from the traditional down the line, but also back from the hole to the ball view, and also side to side, can give you a real good understanding and an overview of the gradient of the green, and you can take that information just to reaffirm your initial read. Tip number 5 is reading your practice putts, whether that's in a practice session on the putting green or if you're just having a few putts before you go out and play. So there's 2 reasons for this and 2 different sort of scenarios. So in the practice setting, in a practice session, what you're doing is, by going through your green reading routine in practice, you're adding and building your green reading experience. And our green reading skills are heavily linked to our experience, so we're constantly topping up that knowledge and that experience bank. When you're going out before you warm up, what's really important is, A, not only are you getting yourself in the mindset of playing golf, so you're practicing in a way that prepares you for being out on the golf course, you're also going to calibrate yourself for the day. So what I mean by this is, by reading a few putts and sort of looking at how they roll after you've read them, looking at the speed, you'll get a sense of, A, how the greens are rolling that day, and you'll be able to factor that into your reads. Whereas normally before you go out and play, most people, and this is 99% of golfers, will just drop 3 balls on a putting green and just putt them to holes really mindlessly, not really thinking, no real rhyme or reason as to what they're doing. They're literally just hitting putts for the sake of it. You want to make sure your warm-ups and your practice sessions are purposeful, and that purpose is really to get you to perform better on the golf course.